Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Abuja Inquirer. The major story here says kidnapping. FCTA lists worst hit councils, plan security review. Kidnapping. FCTA lists worst hit councils, plan security review. Another story here says federal government targets January 2024 for students' loan scheme kickoff. A story you'll find on the front page here. And then FCTA to complete star project for Tinubu's first year in office. Details of that story you find in page 5 of the Abuja Inquirer. And suspend loans to state, Serap urges World Bank. And the organization is saying because of the mismanagement of funds, the World Bank should look into not giving state governments loans. Now, at the top corner, we have the story saying refining will begin with 350,000 barrels per day in December. That's for the Dangote refinery, finally coming up, perhaps in December. Now to another story here, to the leadership newspaper. I beg your pardon. The major story here says local government autonomy, 313 out of 774 councils run by sole administrators. Only 20 states have elected local government executives. Non-compliant governors have no timetable for local government elections. Another story is by the site here, federal government revisits plan for local production of vaccines. Kuske, Sierra Leone imposes nationwide curfew. Kogi queries monarch over partisan politics. No plan to ban hijab in Niger, says Governor Bagu. And color tickets racketeering pushes haulage cost by 200%. At the top corner, Shuaibu declares for Edo governorship today. That's the deputy governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu, finally declaring his intention to run for the governorship seat today. Now, another story here, Israel releases 39 Palestinians. Hamas hands over 17 hostages. You'll find the details of the stories on the front page and within the pages of the leadership newspaper. We'll move now to the front page of this Nigeria newspaper. And the major story here says, crash food prices now. Nigerians urge Tinubu as inflation bites harder. Crash food prices now. Nigerians urge Tinubu as inflation bites harder. Cost of tomatoes rise. Yam, Gari increase by 19.48%, 8.2%, 11.2% respectively in 1 month. Demand aggressive promotion of agricultural produce. Now, these are staples that Nigerians consume, and they're urging the president to look into crashing the prices of these food items. Now, to other stories, financial experts back CBN's planned recapitalization of banks, and the earlier Boss Osun Drug Party tagged Unholy Alliance. FEMA rescues a construction worker trapped under collapse building. And at the downstrip, 87 trillion naira debt, suspend loans to states over misspending, Serap tells World Bank. We mentioned that earlier. Now, FCTA to review security architecture in Abuja. There's been some concerns with the rising level of security concerns, especially talking about persons who fall into the hands of one-chance operators within the Federal Capital Territory there. And another story here. To the national economy right now, bad roads worsening food inflation, experts are saying. Stakeholders say no country can develop with decrepit road infrastructure. And the picture on the front page of the national economy is depicting the state, some of a particular road, which was not clearly stated here. It's a sad one there. But the minister is looking into addressing some of the situation or the state of roads across the country. Now, at the downstrip here, rethinking duties and levies on imported manufacturing inputs in Nigeria. You'll find the details of that story on page 12 of the national economy. Why you may forever pay more at the ATM. I'm sure a majority of Nigerians will want to understand why. You can pick up the national economy to find more details. Now, experts lament Nigeria's $10 billion loss to importation of welders. Experts lament Nigeria's $10 billion loss to importation of welders. Details of that story in the pages of the national economy. You can find that story on page 5 of the national economy. You.
Move to the Nation newspaper. It says here, Shuaibu's declaration renews Edo 2024 battle with Obaseki. Clash of camps likely at venue. CBN revises measures to cut food, energy inflation. $134 million AFDP loan will boost dry season farming, food security. Federal government woos foreign investors with 100% forex repatriation. Adelica's absence on anniversary day raises dust in Osun State. NDLEA swoops on drug party arrest organizers in Osogbo. That's in the Nation newspaper this morning. Moving on, Nigerian News Direct says here, deviation from core mandate in previous years responsible for CBN inefficiency, says Cardoso. Says CBN repositioning to be a catalyst for economic stability and growth. Apex Bank rules out direct quasi-fiscal interventions in other sectors of the economy. On MPC meetings, we have fulfilled statutory obligations. Our focus is on effectiveness, he says. Zenith Bank lights up Ajosi Adiogun Street with Christmas decorations. For the 6.25 trillion naira debts, stop giving loans to Nigerian states, probe past spendings, Serap tells World Bank. Let's move to Nigerian Tribune. Why CBN governor is right on bank recapitalization, says experts. Says inflation, naira depreciation weaken capital adequacy of banks, wants national, regional, international banks to coexist. ECOWAS condemns attempted coup in Sierra Leone. Suspense in Plateau over moves to inaugurate assembly. We have surpassed our first year good governance target, says Adeleke. NDLEA nabs organizers of Osun illicit drug party tagged Unholy Alliance. NJC panel meets tomorrow to pick 11 new Supreme Court justices. Ex-CJN Kutigi's son, Abiru Samani, others on FJSC priority list favored. Let's move to Business Day. Rising drug prices squeeze health insurance margins. Healthcare providers ask HMOs for tariff reviews. That's in the Business Day. CBN's bank recapitalization plan for $1 trillion economy raises questions. And that's it on Business Day this morning. The Daily Independent says here, investors okay banks' fresh recapitalization, urge transparency. Caution Apex Bank on timing, task it on forex inflation, wants process to be more about incentives than cohesion. United Nigeria Airline diverts Abuja flight to Asaba over bad weather. Gunmen kidnap, kill Imo monarch. Israel vows to restart fighting in Gaza after hostages return. Tinubu presidency is God ordained, says Oba of Benin. And that's it in the Daily Independent this morning. The Guardian says banks brace for new monetary policy conduct regulation as Cardoso returns CBN to traditional monetary policy regime. Coup scare. Sierra Leone declares curfew as ECOWAS condemns plot. Guba aftershocks. Kogi queries monarch as APC gives Kano AG ultimatum. NBS imperative of creating stronger, vibrant data system. Women lawyers canvass castration of rapists. Serap urges World Bank to suspend loans to states. And of course, that's it in the Guardian newspaper this morning. We move now to the Punch newspaper. It says banking consolidation. Mega banks boost 10 trillion naira capital base. Others seek fresh investors. And we move on. Lawmakers push for 32 new federal varsities. Armed robbers invade Ogunpoli communities, shoot students. This and more in the Punch. Of course, the Punch is still saying governorship bid. Hotel cancels Obaseki deputy's venue booking. Companies raise salaries by 4.6 trillion naira in 6 months, says NBS. Lecturers shortage hits varsity. ASU blames Jakba IPPIS. Finally, Nature News says First Bank partners NCF to plant 50,000 trees, commits to ESG Spark initiatives. Northeast governors initiate power plant project to ease supply. Nigeria partners Portland Gas on CNG vehicles conversion. Dr. Asagra task Abuja superstores on genetically modified products biosafety. Oyetola receives performance bonds from heads of NPAs, Nimasa, others. And that's it this morning on the Nature News.
Right, so Theophilus, let's quickly touch on one story that caught my eye on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, talking about women lawyers canvassing for castration of rapists. So the 16 days of activism began on Saturday, that's November the 25th.
Yes.
And this will run for 16 days till December the 10th. And the theme for this year by the UN is activism against violence against women and girls. And rape is one of those issues when we're talking about violence against women and girls. And now we are seeing women lawyers saying that, you know what, let's even begin to talk about castrating persons that have been convicted to be rapists, that have been seen and the laws have done their job and found them guilty of rape, so to speak. Let's castrate them. Perhaps this will serve as a deterrent to those who perpetrate this act. Because when you look at the impact on a girl child or on a woman, it goes a long way. The damage is done for life. It takes a lot to get that damage off that woman. In fact, that is if it goes away at all, that, injury is there for life.
We should also be looking at the reporting systems, because we have a situation whereby this case is taken to the police or taken to law enforcement, and some people come together and say it's a family issue, we'll solve it by ourselves. But they don't understand that for the girl child that's involved, like you said, it takes a lot. It's a lot of trauma for the girl child. It's a lot of, how do I put it now? It's a lot that goes on in the mind of the girl child. And
Psychologically,
yes. So she now realizes that our society cannot help her in these situations. If you've met rape victims, what goes on in their mind is that they begin to believe that everyone is out to rape.
You know why that happens? Is because often at time, the persons who perpetrate this act on them are persons they
Close
trust.
to them, yes.
So because it is close-knit, so it's difficult for them to trust anyone outside that circle, because the people they trust in that circle have failed them. And so how is it that those who are outside that circle will be able to help them or defend them as it is? So it's even beyond the matter of reporting system now. It's the burden of proof.
Yes.
How you have to prove that you were a victim of rape. That's another challenge. We know how our system runs. The wheel of justice grinds slowly in this part of the world. And so when you talk about the burden of proof, when matters are taken to the police station and you're told, okay, what happened? And they expect you to recount what happened. That's traumatizing.
They're not trained enough to understand that you have to have empathy towards rape victims in addressing this issue, because it's a serious issue. Because, like we said, people that do this are within their corner. So if it's in the long run, they begin to not get meaningful relationships because of this situation, because the trauma comes to them every day.
The damage it has done on their minds, it's a long-term damage. But we see some states, for instance, Lagos State has a reporting channel where cases like this are taking there. In fact, they put out a report, I think earlier this month or late last month, with regards to abuse, men facing abuse.
Yes.
How about a year now, from September of last year to September of this year.
I think it's over 300.
Yes, over 300 men had reported cases of abuse. It's unfortunate that both gender are witnessing this matter, but we're narrowing it down to the matter of 16 days of activism
Yes.
that has begun, and the focus is on women. It's good to see that men are reporting these matters. It's no longer you are a man, chest it,
woman is
bear this case, and you are a man. Don't complain. And all societal demands, and the fact that ours is a patriarchal society, and it's not expected for a man to report this case. But it's good that we are seeing those cases now. But for the women, there's still a challenge, and so these women lawyers are calling for special courts, family courts, to perhaps hasten the prosecution of these kinds of cases so that the victims can seemingly gain closure, even though we know that not much can be done with regards to gaining closure, but perhaps seeing justice being done with regards to the cases, and as quickly as possible, that will help their healing processes.
True.
We mentioned earlier that Lagos State has a reporting system to drive these cases, but with regards to the courts, we are hoping that we begin to see some of these traditional courts that can address these issues, talking about family courts and all of that. If we can have that, I believe that we would inch closer towards reducing the number with regards to these cases.
And we should also involve this period, enlightenment campaigns, on what victims can do so that justice can be gotten. Because there are situations whereby, because of the situation, because of the whole trauma, victims don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So by the time they are confused, by the time they get themselves, it's said that evidence would have been washed away. So
or tampered with.
So we should have enlightenment campaigns to everybody, so that we'll know what to do and how to go about all of these issues, so that it's easier to get justice at the end of the day.
It's important. I like the fact that you brought that up. Tampering with evidence, it's one thing that is also a major challenge with regards to, because I mentioned earlier, the burden of proof. And so if it has been tampered with, perhaps the clothing and everything, how do they handle all of these issues? Yes, we've been seeing enlightenment campaigns, but we can still do more.
Yes, we can still do more.
We're bridging the gap, and also family members, support systems.
Need to be stronger.
The culture of silence, we are seeing that being broken gradually. People are reporting, but then we can still do more. In every aspect, actually, we need to get justice, and justice has to be seen to be done with these cases. We need to get to that point where we can say, as a society, that we have done a lot with regards to addressing these matters of abuse, either for men or for women.